How to get back up after missing a deadline. Hey, it's Brian from Hope Books, and if you have experienced a setback when it comes to writing your book, when it comes to building your platform, when you're trying to get a speaking gig at the big conference, or you really want to get on this certain podcast and it just doesn't work out, it can be really easy to say, woe is me, and throw in the towel. But what do you do instead to keep going and to get back up? I have to tell you, I'm year 11 into this, and I've probably had more setbacks than I've had successes. It's just part of the journey. So the first mindset shift, the first step really to take after missing the goal, having a setback. You know, like let's say that you just made your big plan to write your book, and you told yourself, I'm gonna do this thing, right? I'm going to create this daily habit. I'm gonna write 500 words every day. I'm gonna wake up at 5 in the morning every day. Like you set this big ambition, and then all of a sudden it hits you. You're like, wait a second. A month went by, or a week went by, like I missed my goal. What do? The first step is acknowledge the failure. Like actually say it out loud. Like, who I am right now is not who I want to be. Acknowledge the gap. The gap between expectation and experience can be educating. This is what I expected. This is what I experienced. There's some education. There's some learning to do. And what I would say in that moment is just the fact that you acknowledge that there's a gap is already growth. There's gain in seeing the gap. There's a gain already there, because most people don't do that. Most people say, oh, you know, I wanted to do that one day, but I'm never gonna do it. You know, you set out a goal. I'm gonna turn in my manuscript by Friday, and now it's next Thursday. And you're like, I missed it. Should I go cry? Should I go mourn? No, you should, number one, acknowledge the gap. What is that gap? This is what I wanted, and this is where I am. And acknowledging the gap is already a gain, because you're telling yourself, I still believe that it's possible, because I feel the pain of not having accomplished it. So knowing that you haven't reached your goal is already you getting closer to your goal. You're redefining what success is for you, which is step number 2. Step number 2 is to reset the deadline, reset the goal, reset. So what that probably means is clearing something out. So for example, let's say that's you said that you're gonna wake up in the morning and you're gonna work on your book, but it hasn't been happening. Well, what do you need to reset in order to make that happen? It probably has to do not with the morning itself, but something else around that morning. Generally, if you're doing something in the morning, the reason it fails is because of you the night before. I think it was in it's either in the War of Art or it's in the E-Myth Revisited. Either one, I think it's E-Myth actually. He talks about morning you and evening you. Like, evening you wants to stay up late, wants to watch the fun movie, you know, wants to drink a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine. Like, evening you thinks it's fun to push the boundaries and to stay up late. Let's go out, let's have fun, let's watch that extra movie. But morning you is going to suffer. And the funny thing is, evening you never has the consequences. Morning you always has to suffer from evening you. So step number 2 is to reset. Step number 1, acknowledge the gap. Step number 2, reset. What do you need to reset? Do you need to get rid of the ice cream in the freezer? Do you need to literally dump the wine down the sink? Do you need to cancel the Netflix subscription? Do you need to cancel those evening plans? If you're serious about achieving your goal, prove it by cutting something out, or cutting a lot of things out in order to achieve that goal. I call it strategic ignorance. I experienced this when we were living in California. We were going to this large church, and I was on the worship team. I played bass in the worship team, and we would have these really well-known singer-songwriter worship people come through town on their tour, and then they would come like guest worship lead at our church. And it was always so interesting because there were us, quote unquote, like normal people, the people that were just playing for fun, just doing the worship thing for fun, not as a career. You know, I was a teacher at the time, and we would have these well-known touring musicians that would come through town. And in my mind, you're a touring musician, you got a lot of time, you know, a lot of time on the road, a lot of time in the van, a lot of time to kind of catch up on the media, go watch movies, listen, you know, watch TV shows as you're traveling, stuff like that. But what I always found, it was so interesting, there was one of the guys in the band would always talk about the latest news, the latest TV show, the latest movie. Like, it just seemed like that was his thing. And every single time, I kid you not, every single time, the touring musician, the well-known person, had no idea what he was talking about. Back then, I think the TV show that was really popular was the show Lost. So you're talking, oh, did you see Lost? No. What's Lost? What? How do you not even know what the show is called, let alone know the characters, let alone know the details of the most recent episode? It's because of strategic ignorance. These touring musicians decided that their one job is to get good at being a touring musician and not good at learning the latest news or learning what happened in the latest episode or watching the latest movie. So that's step number 2, is to reset and choose strategic ignorance. What if you just decided to skip it at night and instead go to bed? Like, literally last night I went to bed at like 9-10 at night because I wanted to wake up early, because my goals in the morning are more important than my leisure at night. All right, and step number 3, accountability. Accountability. If you want to make it happen, if you're trying to reach an important goal, to finish your book, to launch your book, to get on a podcast tour, it's time for some accountability. It means the ability to count. Will you allow someone else in your life the ability to count your reps, your sets, your habits? Will you allow someone else in your life to be able to say, you said 10, you've only done 9, or you said 10, you've only done 3. That is the ability to count, which means some exposure. It means some community, opening yourself up to either a coach or a group of peers who can look at your life and say, you said you want to be accountable. You said you want to do 500 words a day. By 4 p.m. Eastern every day, I want you to send me a screenshot of your Scrivener app and show me how many words you wrote today. And if it's under 500, I'm going to call you and encourage you, but let you know this is serious. You've got to get this done. And I'm going to remind you of how important this is to you. And that's what it means to be held accountable. You're held according to a standard that you set for yourself. And that's why we need each other, right? We need each other to encourage, to take courage and put it inside of us. We need someone else to hold us accountable, to be able to count the steps towards the goal. Because if it were up to you, right, if it were up to me to do it on my own, I would have done it already. That's why we have a community like Hope Writers. In Hope Writers, we have something called Hope Huddles, which are small accountability groups. These are other writers who are at the same stage in our 6-stage journey, and they are holding each other accountable, checking in weekly to share their progress and to encourage each other. So those are the 3 steps to resetting if you've missed your goal. You didn't turn in your manuscript, you didn't get on that podcast, you didn't launch your book yet, no problem. Number 1, acknowledge the gap. Number 2, reset by being strategically ignorant, removing some lesser opportunities in your life. And number 3, getting accountability, the ability to count the reps towards the goal. I hope that encourages you.